So now that we have the item types, let's create the actual item. The first thing that I'm going to specify within the item manager is the name of the item, which is assault rifle. Item type will then allow us to use the object that we created in the last video, and we created my assault rifle, so I'll go ahead and assign that. Character will then determine if the item should be assigned to the character immediately, or if you want to enable runtime pickup and have it assigned to the character during runtime. A prefab will then be created if you're enabling runtime pickup. Runtime pickup is extremely useful if you'll be creating a whole bunch of different items. Because we're only creating one item, I'm going to specify the character right here. Add to default loadout will determine if the item should be added to the inventory when the character spawns. And then item ID specifies the unique ID for this particular item. This ID is used by the animator, so let's go ahead and open that up. And that animator is, or this ID is used by the animator, and it basically tells the animator that, hey, I have an assault rifle equipped, so play the corresponding animations for it. We already have the assault rifle animation, so I'm going to find which item ID I should use by going to the upper body layer and then drilling down into the assault rifle substate. This first transition has a condition called slot 0 item ID, and it has a value of 1. This 1 value is the item ID of the assault rifle. There's nothing special about this value of 1. It's just that it's consistent throughout the entire animator. So I know if item ID equals 1 as any condition throughout the animator, then it would be the assault rifle. Looking at this parameter a little bit more, this slot 0 specifies the right hand, and then the animator is also set up for slot 1, which is the left hand. And this allows for dual wielding. You can have any number of slots, so you could really have any number of items equipped at one time, but in this case we only have the animator set up for 2 different slots. So let's go ahead and now fill in item ID right here. And we're done with the animator, so we can go ahead and close that. This first person base object field allows you to specify which object the item should be assigned to or should be parented to when the item is added to the character. The assault rifle should be parented to the arms, and so I'm going to drag in this arms layer, or this arms object, and if we look at it in the scene view, we can see that we have a right arm and a left arm. This system is actually really flexible, so for example, if I wanted to assign an assault rifle, a shotgun, and a sword all to this same object, I can do that. I could assign it all to the right hand of the first person arms layer, or a first person arms object. If I then wanted to have a shield in the left arm, I could take just the left arms and assign a shield to it. So in this case, we're just dealing with the assault rifle for right now, so I'm going to drag that in. And because the arms haven't been created before, it then asks for the animator controller that the arm should use. This animator controller is completely optional, but it allows you to animate the arms. We have an animator controller already created called first person demo, so I'm going to specify that. So now the base object is done, and we have to specify the visible item. The visible item is the actual assault rifle model, and that will get assigned to the character's right hand. It doesn't know to assign it to the character's right hand though, so we have to specify that in this item parent field. And to do that, we'll drill down to the character's right hand, or the arm right hand, and we'll get this hand game object. It then asks you, or it then requires you to add an item slot to the right hand, and this, when you click add, or when you add the item slot, it will create this items game object. And you'll notice that this ID of 0 corresponds to that same ID within the animator of 0 for the character's right hand. The last field related to this that we need to specify is the animator controller for the actual assault rifle. And this will allow the assault rifle to play the firing animation or the reloading animation. It is also optional, but should definitely be done for first-person shootable weapons. We're going to skip the third-person section. If you're interested in that, take a look at the third-person video for setting up items. Action type allows you to specify what action the item should perform. In this case, we want the item to shoot, so we're going to specify shootable weapon. We could also have specified melee weapon or grenade or whatever. Multiple actions can also be added to a single item. Consumable item type allows you to specify which item type the action consumes. In this case, the shootable weapon will be firing assault rifle bullets that we created in the last video. So let's go ahead and specify that. And we're going to skip the state configuration and state profile fields because these allow you to specify or pre-populate parameters on the item. So for example, if you already had a shotgun profile created, then you could specify shotgun and it would automatically populate all the shotgun values that are unique to that particular item. But we're basically done now with this item manager, so let's go ahead and hit build item, and we'll notice that it'll add the assault rifle, and then it will also position the arms underneath the character. The assault rifle, all the main parameters for the assault rifle are changed under the character's item assault rifle game object. This actual assault rifle model really doesn't have many parameters associated with it. So if you, for any configuration, you should be looking at this assault rifle game object. If we go and hit play, the assault rifle should be added to the character, but we'll likely notice a few different issues. So looking at the character now, we can see that the arms are positioned incorrectly, the assault rifle is positioned incorrectly, and I think if we move the character around, we can see that the right arm will kind of appear and disappear. So let's go ahead and fix those three things. And the first thing that I want to fix is the position of the assault rifle. So in the scene view, I'm going to change the position. Actually, that was the wrong object. So I'm going to change the position of the assault rifle by dragging the assault rifle in using the transform tools and kind of positioning it and rotating it until it's in the correct position. In this case, I'm going to cheat a little bit and use the values that we're using within the demo scene. And those values are right here. So I have the position set up, and actually let's look at the character so that we can see the assault rifle slowly moving into the correct position and rotation. Now once I flip it, and now if I hit play, we should notice that the assault rifle is in the correct position. Let's get that right arm. There we go. Now the right arm is showing and we can see that it's in the correct position. That right arm's annoying, so let's go ahead and fix that. And you can fix this by changing the render bounds on the skin mesh renderer. You could select always update, but in this case I'm going to specify a value of -0.24 so that it will always be within view. And then I'm going to do something similar with the right armor. Actually, I'm in play mode right now, so let me go ahead and get out of play mode and then specify these values. So this is kind of just playing with it until you get the right value. Now when I hit play, the bounds should always be within view, and it looks like the armor still is not within view. So I can do that I can adjust that by adjusting this render bounds. And you'll notice that there's this little box that moves. So that looks like a pretty good value. So now when I move it, now notice that the armor is always visible. So I'm just going to save that value. And now it's been persisted. So now the last thing that I need to do is adjust the position of the arms, because you can see the inside of the character's left arm. And I can do that within the first person perspective item, and I can change this position offset value to be a value that works appropriately for the assault rifle. So notice as I'm changing this, it will also update. I'm going to cheat again in this case and use the values that we're using within the demo scene. So let me get out of play mode so that it will persist and type in these values. And now if I hit play, the assault rifle should be positioned correctly. Looks like it's positioned correctly, but now the left arm render bounds are wrong. So again, we can adjust that by going to, oh, it looks like it's the armor that's positioned wrong, or that has a wrong render bounds. And so now, yeah, if I change that value, it will now update when at the correct times.